Now that we've written and tested the mapper for parsing the post data and inserting into Cassandra, we're ready to upload it to Hadoop and have it run the job as a MapReduce task. So again, we'll use the Hadoop command line utility. So we want to say we want to use a jar, and this is what will enable us to do it as a streaming job. All right. And we have to provide some arguments. So the first argument is going to be a new one for us. It's an argument to the Java process that launches it. What it says is we want 0 reduces. So that means run the mapper, but then don't run any reducers, because we're doing all our work in the map task. We're parsing out the data, and we're actually inserting it into Cassandra. So let's specify the input file, which is the input posts small.xml. The output file, which is going to be insert user post activity job. Sounds like a good output file, or output directory. Now, the output directory is actually a required argument, and it also is required that that directory not exist when the job runs. So if you have a job that runs multiple times, you either need to delete the output directory before you run it, or you need to give it a different name, like say an incremental value or something like that. All right, we'll specify the mapper, which is mapper user posts that we just wrote. And we'll specify the file argument, which, remember, will copy this file up so that the mapper has access to it, so they can actually run the job. All right, let's run this. Here we can see it started. The map task is currently at 0%. The reduce is at 0. So remember, there's this URL, so we can go there and see how the job is doing. Let's jump over to the browser and see how things are progressing. OK, so the job is here. And we see that the map has actually started. So it's 3.78%. Now, how it knows how far into the map task it is it's feeding the post.xml file into the mapper. And it knows how much of the file the mapper has actually consumed. So it knows, for instance, if there are 100,000 lines and it's consumed 30,000 of them, it would be 30% complete. So if we refresh the page, we see, oh, it's 47% complete. And if we go into the job, we can see some more specific information. So we're going to go ahead and let that run. While that's running, let's go back to our script that we wrote to query that table and see what users are there. All right, so while that MapReduce job is writing data in, let's see if we can actually revisit our script to pull out some of that data. So we're going to limit the batch size here to 1,000 because we know we may have a lot of users, or at least upwards of 50,000 or so. Finally, when we do the multi-get, I'm going to say let's only pull back 1,000 of the users at once. We're just going to leave the others. We only want to take a look at the data to see how it is. All right. All right, so we can see that there are users here who have activity on multiple posts. This user, for instance, has activity on 4 different posts. Some of the users have activity on only 1. Some of them are really, really prolific. Now, in a more complicated schema, you probably want to store what type the activity was, whether it was a comment on somebody's answer, or if it was an answer to a question, or if it was a question itself. But this serves our purposes for now. All right, in this lesson, you've learned how to write data into Cassandra from Hadoop in the map phase of the MapReduce task. We've created a new column family for storing user post activity and use the Cassandra client Thrift interface to do that.